This thing is special. It's not a game emulator. It's something better. Hey, it's Andrew, and this thing might be the coolest piece of gaming tech ever. The Analogue Pocket is not only a really awesome gadget, but it's a serious step forward in gaming technology and possibly gaming preservation technology in general. It takes your old experiences and breathes new life into them. Let me explain. I want to get something out of the way really quickly. This handheld is not an emulator per se. It's an FPGA, or a field programmable gate array. This little system is a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance or a couple other old school handhelds, and it actually has the technology inside of it to be that system, not just play the games that it plays. Systems like the Game Boy are beloved by many, many people. It's a legendary system, and it's not that hard to make a software that just plays the games that were made for it. What an FPGA does, though, is actually changes the physical transistors on the board, and it uses that technology to emulate the architecture of the original system. So now you get all the perfections of that device and what it could do, but you also get all the imperfections that made it so special to a lot of people. I am not an engineer by any means, and this is the best way that I understand FPGAs. And this is a huge step forward for gaming preservation because it means that we can actually experience these older games the way they were meant to be played on the systems they were meant to be played on. And that is the foundation behind the technology in the Analogue Pocket, but there are so many other things that make this device such a cool piece of tech. First and foremost, this device is a love letter to the original Game Boy. And with that love, they set out to make a modern version of it. And the display really pushes that across. It is ridiculously over-engineered and quite possibly the best display in a gaming device ever. It's 3.5 inches at 1600 by 1440p, which is 615 pixels per inch. And this makes it exactly 10 times the resolution of the original Game Boy, which means that all of these games can run at their authentic resolution, just upscaled by the pixel size, making the clarity astounding and the playing experience just absolutely beautiful. It's also made out of Gorilla Glass, so it is durable, and they tuned this LCD panel to be so beautifully colorful and incredible. LCDs get a lot of in the tech space because generally they're just not that great. They're the cheaper option. They're not an OLED, but with a lot of care and attention, you can make an IPS display look absolutely incredible, and they spared no stops at making this display just insane. The display is also incredibly bright, and I doubt that the quality will come through on video. You've really just got to see it for yourself, but this display accentuates the charm of these old school games. Almost alone, it makes the experiences feel completely brand new. You can also use different display tuned patterns like pixel grids or black and white or a backlit display, all kinds of different modes that are resonating of the original devices and how they originally looked, just with that level of clarity and upscale that is just gorgeous. The speakers are also really loud, really fantastic, and bring these 8-bit music tunes straight to life. I don't really know the exact specs on them, but they are top tier. And all around, the system just feels incredibly premium. USB-C on the bottom charges the device, which is a great change. And I don't know the exact battery size on it, but this thing lasts forever. I'll leave this thing asleep for 2 weeks, turn it back on, and the battery will have not budged. It's frankly incredible. There's also a headphone jack, which is great, and then a micro SD card slot, so you can load on ROMs and other files that you might want to throw on there. There's also an old school Game Boy multiplayer port. I don't remember what exactly that port was called, but it was that proprietary cable that you could link Game Boys with to be able to trade Pokemon and stuff like that. And this works with original Game Boys, so you can take an original Game Boy and an Analogue Pocket and play Pokemon between the two. There is a physical slot on the back also, so you can put in Game Boy cartridges or other types of Game Boy Color cartridges, Game Boy Advance. There's adapters so you can put like Neo Geo cards in there. There's a lot of playability on here. You can also purchase a sold separately dock to be able to play this stuff upscaled on your TV, which is a good time. Also, a bit of a weird one, there's a full-on DAW that they made for this thing called Nanoloop. A DAW, if you don't know, is a digital audio workstation, and it's what you use to do music production or audio engineering. Nanoloop has a synthesizer and a sequencer all on the system, allowing you to sample audio from old Game Boy cartridges and create full tracks all on the Analogue Pocket. You can even plug the Analogue Pocket into external MIDI devices and analog sync things. Like, it has all of the stuff behind it for it to be a music production suite. It's a crazy, awesome, weird addition, and if you are a Game Boy lover and a music producer, this thing is just a must-buy. Analogue, the company that makes this device, also has been expanding the FPGA. They have consoles for the N64, the Sega Genesis, the SNES, They've been making awesome products, but the Analogue Pocket is still the standout. They've also done a ton of different variants of the Pocket itself. You've got gold, white, silver, black, see-through purple, indigo aluminum purple. You've got all kinds of different colorways and versions of the system that are beautiful and all made with a lot of love and care. And at the beginning of this video, I said that this thing is special, and I truly do believe that. Games preservation is important and it's hard. There are countless games and projects that teams have worked hours and hours on that are lost to time and that we will never be able to authentically experience ever again. Products like this make having genuine experiences with those old games not only possible, but feel brand new. Old Zelda and Pokemon games are highlights of my childhood, and playing those games on this system is an absolute joy. Like I said earlier, it's almost an entirely new experience. You know how you remember games from your childhood is really detailed and gorgeous and amazing, and then you go back and play them and they really aren't. They're kind of old, clunky, and weird. That kind of changed for me. Sure, GB and GBA games are old and clunky and kind of weird, but playing those games on this system with this display and these speakers, it's gorgeous. And it's like playing the game I remember the game being, but it's still genuinely that game with the same features and same gameplay experience on the same device because of what FPGA can do. Technology like this is special because it looks back with love and brings the past into the future with beautiful design and function. Either way, what are your thoughts? This is a short one. It's a complicated device and I'm not that knowledgeable of how all the system stuff works, but I love this thing and I recommend it to anybody who has love for those old school games. Do you have one? Do you want one? Drop a comment in the comments of this video. I'll be in there replying, chatting with you guys about stuff. And if you don't have anything to say, maybe drop your favorite emoji. Helps out with the engagement of this video. I'm on the road to 10K subs and I would love for you guys to be a part of that with me. So I will see you guys next time. And hey, thank you so much for watching. Peace.